Hey everybody. Unfortunately, I did make a recording all of this, but my audio wasn't on, so I'm going to go ahead and go through this. The first thing you're going to do, and we are on Keystone Test Day 3, and these are the notes. Please make sure that you make a square list before doing anything else when you take your Keystone. So 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, 6 squared is 36, 7 squared is 49. If you don't remember these, that's totally fine. Just use your calculator real quick. So right after 9 squared is 81. Sorry. 10 squared is 100. Right after your Keystone proctor says you may now start your test, grab your scrap paper and make that list. Okay? And then you're going to use these numbers anytime you have a square root problem, which just so happens to be the first one on the notes. So the question will be, what should the value of x be so that you end up with 3 square roots of 6? So we're going to think backwards, all right? So remember, 3 square roots of 6 would have come from the square root of 9 and square root of 6, because the square root of 9 is 3. And then you can use your list to work your way backwards. And then these two would have been joined up to be the square root of 54. So the problem, unsimplified, is the square root of 54. We had to work our way backwards. So the question is, what value of x would give us the square root of 54? So we're going to say, okay, I guess 54 has to be the same as 3x. Divide by 3, x would be 18. So when you're taking the keystones, you can either use all your multiple choice to plug them in and see which one reduces, or you can do this method. So sure enough, if you plugged in 18, you would get the square root of 54, which would be broken down to 9 and 6, which would give you 3 square roots of 6. So here's the proof as to why x is 18. Now, least common multiple and greatest common factor. We're doing much better with these, okay? So we have 14 and 10. Let's do the multiples. What are your multiples of 14? 14, 28. Add 14, what are we at? 42. 56, I'm just adding as I go along, 70, 84. I'm going to stop and now I'm going to do 10. My multiples, common multiple of 10s are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70. And I'm going to stop there because I get 2 that are the same. So least common multiple, we list our multiples, find what the smallest one that matches, and for our x's and our y's, we pick this biggest exponent. So both of them have an exponent of 3 on the x, and the biggest exponent on y is the 9. So that's how you do least common multiples. GCFs, you're good at these. It's not what do they go into, it's what goes into them. So between 10 and 14, 2 is the greatest common factor between them. For x, For x, they're the same, so both x to the third goes into both of them. And then for y's, this was the one where we pick the smaller exponent, because y squared goes into y squared and y9. You don't pick the biggest exponent on these ones, the greatest common factor. All right, number 3 is factor this expression. So first step is GCF 7, divide by 7, and what would that be, 50? Yeah, when we divide by 7. And then we do our ACB chart. AC is negative 50 and B is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Divide by 1, you get negative 50. Add to be negative 49. Please, please, please pause this video and slow it down if you need to. Divide by 2 is negative 25. Add to be negative 23. Remember, YouTube has like a settings wheel where you can do your playback speed if I'm going too fast. Divide by 3, you get a decimal. Divide by 4, you get a decimal. Divide by 5, you get negative 10, which if you add, you get negative 5. Right number, wrong sign, change, change, change. Magic numbers. So we get x squared, take away 50. Please do not use these. Magic numbers, negative 5 with an x and 10 with an x. GCF x plus, x minus 5 here from the left, and x plus 10 from the top. So my final factored form is my GCF, my x plus 10, and my x minus 5. Those are the factors, 1, 2, 3. Let's go down to another one. I think the next recording, actually the audio started working here. So I'm just going to erase I'm just going to erase the whole thing, and then I will tell you, I'll say, like, okay, now just go to the next video, and it should play automatically in your playlist. The directions say simplify. The first step is to distribute. X squared minus 4x minus 21. And now it's time to factor this. GCF is just 1, which does nothing. Now we do our ACB. This is a box problem. Negative 21 and negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Divide by 1 and add. Divide by 2 is a decimal. Divide by 3 and add. So when you do negative 21 divided by 3, you get negative 7, add to be negative 4. Box it up. X squared, negative 21, 3x, negative 7x. GCF, 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 GCF. This answer goes into your numerator. So you're going to draw a fraction bar, and you're going to put that into the numerator. At this point, you can go to the next video, and the rest of the paper will pick up from here.